Hi again. Welcome to the Garage. I'm Pierre. This time around, I kind of solicited Banggood for the acquisition of this microscope here. This is a more professional microscope. I used to play around with this little microscope here, which is doing fine for 40 bucks or so. This one is about 4 or 5 times more expensive. What does it do better for being so much more expensive, and what can we expect from it? I was going to make one video about what I'm intending to do with it, and also about the description of it, but that was going to be too long, and since the attention span of people watching, usually doesn't go too far, so let's make the first part, and let's describe what makes this microscope so much better. I got images here. These are older cell phone let's say PC boards with surface mounting parts on it. They're in the rather small parts because in the phones they don't have much room and they don't want to consume a lot of power, and then, so on and so on. So they use pretty much some small parts here. See, this is a 0.9. This pen is a 0.9 millimeter lead pen. So I'm going to just approach it from there. See the chip in there, so it's quite clear, quite nice, quite quite detailed. No noise. There's no noise in the background. It's a very clean image. It's a 14 megapixel camera with a few features that I'll just be showing you as we go along. This here is the one I've used for a little while. Not too bad, but if you look at it right in there, if you take a recording of what it can just get, and you compare the two images, this is day and night between the two. This is pretty noisy. There's a lot of electrical noise, or not electrical, but picture or granular noise in there, which this one is very clean. So first difference there. Also, this one here comes with the annular light here. Not too bad. It lights up a little bit, but this one here comes with two lights, and in this case I'm sharing one of the two lights with the little microscope, and it's adjustable, and by adjusting it, the aperture on the camera will follow and give me average lighting in the proper range. It's adjustable too. I'll show you this because also includes a little remote control, which allows you to access a menu in this camera here. And I think we'll put this one aside for now. I don't think we need this little one any more than this. So I'll be just I'll make some video because they both have capture facilities on them. You get a micro SD card, and you can just capture the let's turn this one off, and let's get it out of the way for now. Okay, and we'll just recoup our both lights. You can adjust the angle, you can adjust the intensity of the lights. Allows you for better lighting, less reflections, and better let's say better results. Also, there is the we're at minimum enlargement as far as it's natural enlargement. It's just the let's say optical enlargement, I should say, and you have a possibility of enlarging by pressing that little button on top there. This is electronic enlargement, so you can enlarge quite a lot, and we're starting to see a little bit of grain in the picture. It's starting to be a little grainy, but you can see enlarge quite a lot in there. Other features of that little camera here, you got these are metric. Oh, I forgot the size of the mounting, but these are metric mounts. You can mount them on tripods or whatever. It's not the quarter 20 that is mostly standard on just about any camera. These being most based on CCTV cameras. The lens mount is a C-type mount. It's CCTV camera standard. So you can change the lens on this. If you want to put another kind of lens, whatever you want to install on this, available. Tripod is pretty stable, pretty nice. The rack gear, the gears at an angle, so you can have a more stable or more, let's say, kind of smooth. Goes nicely. There I'm far from being maximum enlargement. I'll show you some other, other situations where I enlarge it most. One of the main features that got me interested into that little camera is the menu. There's, let's say, like I was saying before, there's the remote control. The infrared receiver is right on the top there, so you have to make it visible to the remote control. So you have a line set, picture scale, exposure, white balance. You got lots of features in there that you can adjust and control. And one of the features that I kind of like about this, that kind of made me wanted to, oops, I gotta make it visible there, on, off. If you see there, there's a graticle, X and Y graticle, and it's graduated. These being manufactured into the chips and to the electronics of this makes this very precise here. So that's one of the features that really interested me that got me very interested into that little camera. And you got also, let's say we take it out, off, we got also line. You got other lines here. Those lines, some of them can be adjusted to precise positions, and this will allow you to take measurements to, let's say, pixel level. So that will be another nice feature to exploit on this camera there. The weight of the line, you can have finer lines and let's say broader line. Also the direction, horizontal, vertical, and so on and so on. I'll just be skipping quite fast enough on there. So picture scale, 16 by 9 or 4 by 3, and also exposure, which is a nice thing. Also you can plus 1/3, 2/3 stop, 1 stop, like up to two stops exposure. So if you want it overexposed, let's say, you're going to be seeing that makes a big difference on the exposure. So let's bring it back to normal, because now normal gives me the proper result. You have white balance in there, auto, daylight, cloudy, tungsten, manual. You can let's say manual, just for quickly see the kinds of controls you got on this. So you can control your different the primary component colors on this by adding or subtracting or whatever. So your manual on or manual off. So you go back to in there the color. You can have black and white and sepia, depending upon certain effects you want to do, or sometimes you want just a color gradation or whatever. That's a very good, let's say, black and white. Let's go back to color. And language. You got quite a few of those in there. So depending upon where you're located on the planet, you're going to find something for you. The frequency, depending on if you're in the 50 hertz or 60 hertz country frequency, so you avoid the beating. Date and time format, the micro SD card, default settings, version, and everything. That's so the pretty straightforward for the rest of this. So this camera, this is basically a camera on which you can adapt lens. If you want different lens, with anything with C-mount will do the job on this, and I've seen other lenses available, so that could be a good asset on this. As far as maximum enlargement can go on that magnification. It can go about 100 with the size of this screen there, and maximum optical. I'm not talking about electronic enlargement on this. Optical enlargement, it will give you about 115 times with this monitor, which is a 22 inches across monitor. It will do 1920 by 1080 at 60 frames per second. What it says on the specs is it does 8 times to 120 times magnification optical. What is included with this? You have the camera itself. This is that's a little square box. You have the power supply for the camera. You have the HDMI cable. You have a power supply and plug and everything for the LED, because they're fed separately. You got the base. You got everything for mounting and everything and so on. The ring here, which is pretty easy to just unscrew this. You can adjust your angle on this, and there's also another feature that you can adjust this angle by, there's a screw in the middle here, and you can adjust the screw here and just tilt on the sideways or whatever for the some other kinds of applications. The depth of field, naturally, if you get into those magnifications, you can get the top of a surface mount part in focus, but the bottom of the part isn't that focused. But that's, I would say, good enough to see what you're doing. And if you got a soldering iron, you see exactly, because some people will use those for actually as soldering microscope. So no problem about that. And on the HDMI port and everything, this is absolutely instantaneous. There's no backlog, no delay or whatever. And this is not being the maximum magnification. Just this is very close to being 1 millimeter LED for a pen, you know, like a automatic pen. Let's see about how big this can get. I'll perfect focus. I would say we're there. You can see that even in there, this is laser marked, and you see the dots in there. That's pretty nice. And if you go for electronic magnification, you can go closer and see. There you go. Yeah, you see the little laser dot marks in there. These are heated portion around the actual markings. That's pretty good. The image is starting to get a little bit of noise, of the electronic noise, into maximum magnification, but still stays very clean for the purpose of it. It can record, and it can also take pictures. There's also a software that's included in there. There's a free version that will allow you to use it a little bit like an optical comparator. You can get very precise measurements and possibly draw some precise angles, precise shapes, and compare your, let's say if you have parts in a machine shop or whatever you want to compare, then you can use that as a tool for do those works. And that's mainly what pushed me to require this this tool. That's about what it is. And maybe some people that wondered on the previous episode what you know, the what they were was, this is a print heads from an HP printer. I'm not an advocate of let's say inkjet printers, because we're getting ripped off, just you know, a cold rip off. And but see the heads on this. I'll be showing you the you know, how it is, and Just this is the answer of one of the quiz question of the previous video, but just I'll be showing you again. Okay, that's an interesting part. Right at this end there, you can see some driving parts for the, or I would say, you got little bridges here. Boy, this lead is big. You see those little bridges there? They conduct the circuitry from this area here to the nozzles here that will do what an inkjet has to do. Let me get it better located. I'll make the focus as good as good as it can be. Am I? Oh no, I'm not even full magnification on this. Okay, there we go. That's about this is 100, let's say roughly 115, 120 times a printer head, inkjet printer head. Let's try to see electronic magnification at its max. And depth of field is very thin at this magnification. There you go. See that little city there is where the dispatching is all done. This is where your ink is told to make a dot or not. So that's about what concludes what's to be shown about the physical appearance of it, why and how I use it. I prepared something on milling machine on the next episode to come, and that will show you mostly why I got it and what interested me about this microscope. So until then, if you want to get one of those, which to me I've used it for a while and I find it's a very reliable, very nice piece of equipment. You can just get to this description box. I give it a direct link to it, and I'm sure you may be interested into starting your own, let's say, optical comparator, or getting it for soldering, getting it for any good magnification for a reasonable price. So till next time, have fun, and we'll see you soon.